I want to talk a few minutes about our broadcast workflow. This is going to get a little more technical as far as our setup goes. So this is how we get our basically feed from our cameras all the way to the internet. And I think it's helpful for everybody to understand just how this workflow is set up. So we have 3 cameras right now. Eventually we could have more. We could have, on our special services like Christmas or Easter, we might rent gear that allows us to have another roaming camera or 2. We've done that. So whatever the case is, your feed's coming in. Also included in this is front of house, which is not on this workflow. The projection, so all the slides coming in. But those things feed in over SDI cables. They're run all through the walls and up the ceiling, and they go all the way upstairs to the media booth to our switcher. Everything hooks up to the back of this. It's all fed in there. Right now we have everything set at 1080p. We do have the potential at some point to go up to 4K when we have a little bit more infrastructure to allow us to do that. So we've purchased gear that has allowed us, you'll notice these cameras are 4K. We've purchased gear that has allowed us to do that so that we can, be, I guess, not really ahead of the game, but just prepared for when the time comes to do that. But it all feeds into a switcher. And then we have a control panel that's set up. The control panel is communicating to the switcher. So the switcher, even though it's called a switcher, you can't do any switching. All the feeds come in there, and then you have to have a, this device, or it could also be operated by a computer software, but we have the actual hardware, which we got a couple of years ago. And that actually is where you go camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, slides, so on and so forth. That is connected to the switcher. The switcher also sends a video feed to a recorder. We have, a lot of this is Blackmagic software, and we have a HyperDeck Studio Pro upstairs. We can put 2 SSDs, 2 solid state drives in there and record a long time. But it records high quality video, uncompressed and compressed if we need it. And so that's the process for getting things recorded. So then once all that's done, we say, okay, how do we get it to the web? Well, this video source and all this stuff, it's 1080p, but it's really like large information that's coming through all of this. So we need to figure out a way to get it to where it's internet ready, to where somebody can watch it on their device. And so it goes through something called an encoder. And it was just, let's see, I'd say 3-4 months ago, right? We bought 3 encoders because we have 3 spaces in our church now that have the ability to stream, do content like this and stream. And what this does, it takes all that information, it compresses it down, it packs it nice and neat for it to be internet ready. And then this sends an internet feed to the cloud, and we use a software called Caster. Caster is a streaming software. And in Caster, we get the feed from our encoders, and then from there we can send it out to Facebook, YouTube, a multitude of different platforms, and people get to watch it on their devices. So that's what goes into just getting things to the internet, right? If we had television broadcast, it'd be probably a way different workflow, even more complicated. But I know nowadays, streaming is becoming more and more easy with like a phone. Oh, I'm live on Facebook, and it's cool that you can do that. But for our church and for most, houses of worship, it's going to be a similar workflow for getting stuff on the internet. So this encoder, I'm going to show you the interface of what we see. Each of these encoders, you can go to the internet, type in an IP address, and get to them. And what we do is we initiate the stream on these devices. We can also initiate them on the actual box themselves that says, hey, start streaming to the internet, to the web. That then feeds into Caster, where we have one in the youth hall, one in the rock room, one in the sanctuary. And then for this case, this example, clicking on the sanctuary encoder, I can click to go live. Right now I've got our church's YouTube channel and our church's Facebook page plugged in there. We could add a few more locations if we wanted to. Right now these are the primary places that we are streaming to. But we have really, really loved this process, love the software that we're using, and it's been working well. We're streaming in 1080 at 60 frames, so it all looks really, really good.